my name is Starlight. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and I'm reaching out to all of you beautiful souls out there. I hope that you were able to get out in nature somewhere, and in my area I know it's been a little rainy here and there, so I still have to get out. I've been very busy today, and anyway, if you are new to my YouTube channel, welcome. And you can find me on YouTube, and that is at Starlight, and that's Kathy with a K, Dingman. And, I hope not only you're getting out in nature somewhere, is also that you're being kind to yourself and others. I hope that you are getting exercise, getting out, maybe meditation, or do some yoga, or even try some yoga or meditation. So anyway, I just made a video yesterday, and it is kind of uploading right now. I'm going through that right now as I speak, so I will have that out as soon as possible. And so this is the second part to a spiritual awakening that I had last year, and today is August 16th. So this is the second day that I was going through a spiritual awakening. It started on August 15th, and that's part of the video for yesterday. And so that video that I made yesterday is for August 15th, and then starting off in the beginning of the August 16th. And so today I'm going to finish, or at least try to finish, the rest of the story. It might be a third part or fourth, I'm not sure. So here we go. But before I start, you can give this video a thumbs up. You can also share it with a friend, a family member, a cat, a dog, a guinea pig. Oh my, you got a guinea pig. Boy, oh boy, I don't know what to say about that. Starlight never had guinea pigs, but I have seen them out at other people's houses. And so you could share your, guinea pigs might want to, like circle around a little bit, and as they're going in their little toy there, I don't know what they call those things, but they just go around, they're exercising, yeah. So anyway, besides sharing with your guinea pig, you can also push the notification bell, and I will ring the bell. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, plus leave a message down below. And if you want to follow me, you can on Instagram, and that's at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook at Kathy with a K, Dingman Starlight. So anyway, I'm just going to rewind a little bit, because where I left off in the last video, if you got to watch part 1 first, because this won't make any sense, so it's just like a movie, like a series or whatever, is you got to watch part 1 first, and if you already have, then you're all set to go. And so I'm just going to rewind a little bit, is where I left off in the last video is where Starlight just got locked out of her apartment. She just, had realized that, like where she lives now, which is crazy, isn't it? That, somehow or another somebody was spying on Starlight through her flat screen TV, and not just her flat screen TV, but her laptop. And I do have other people that live in this house, even though it's my landlord's house. My landlord does live here. And there's another apartment, for another tenant, which that person that used to live here worked for Spectrum, but he does not live here anymore. So anyway, and where I left off is a van pulled out in front of my house and wanted to come into Starlight's house where she lives, but he wanted to go to the basement area with a box, a toolbox with him, to do something. And so anyway, Starlight got locked out of her apartment by accident, not knowing what was going to happen next. And so now she's locked out of her apartment, realizing, oh my, I have to call the cops up to make a report. There's something funky going on in my basement, because the universe sent a man with a van at my house to take care of the problem that is going on in this apartment. And but that man that came here that was not in a National Grid truck left already, and Starlight had everything locked up in her apartment, so she couldn't get to the phone to call the police. And Starlight was wearing these clothes, and that's why I have to wear these again on this every video that I make, so you can visualize how weird this was for Starlight to be locked out of her apartment wearing these clothes. And so anyway, after I was on my porch trying to get back in my apartment, and I was upset with my landlord, and I was cursing him. I was very upset. I told him that you better let me back in the apartment. It was not a pretty scene because I was going through a spiritual awakening. Starlight never really acts like that in real time. So anyway, after that, like I was thinking, to the universe, wondering, like, I didn't want to walk, or even jog or run to the police department from my apartment. It would be like a 20-minute walk. But if I was running, I'm barefoot though. I didn't have, I just had these skimpy clothes on, which were not meant to be outside. Absolutely not. So what did Starlight do next? Starlight was thinking, oh, what, I was, I realized that we are like locked up in like a Hollywood movie here. And so I was thinking that way in my mind space, thinking, oh, what do they do in the movies? How do they, people get help in the movies, like, because I want to get the cops here quick at my apartment so they can check that basement out to find out what is going on in the basement in this apartment, because the universe does not just send somebody at this apartment, like the way the universe did, without there being a reason why the universe wanted. God, the universe, knows everything, So something was going on in this apartment on August 15th, and who knows how long before that, because I was having, computer issues here and there on my computer before this time and couldn't figure out what was going on. So this was a way for the universe to kind of help Starlight out, trying to figure out what was going on with my stuff in my apartment, and so anyway, I was thinking quick, and I'm like, oh, I was just thinking like an acting bit is to, I was thinking I could have, like I said, walk or jog, but I did not, like like it would have looked really horrible for me to run around, like half naked and barefoot, and so what would be the next thing I could possibly do? Well, I live on a street and there's a bunch of houses. And I thought about knocking on people's doors, but, that would have been really weird, as, a half-naked girl knocking on somebody's doors, saying, hey, can you call the police department, So I didn't do that way, is because I was heading to the police department. I ended up, I was running on the sidewalk, and I was waiting for people to go drive on the street to try to get somebody that's on the street, that's in their car, to get them to call the police department for me. So that's what I did, is I did see an older couple. It was funky, like, I don't know, universe knows stuff. Universe was having me do this stuff, it wasn't me really, and I was thinking quick about how to get the police officers here so they can check the place. And so there was an old couple that were driving on the street. I ran out to the road, and here I am. I look like a raped victim out here on my street, I'm like a sweetheart on the street, I stay to myself, I'm always friendly to all the neighbors and this was down the street from where I live, like halfway down the street before I get to another street, that goes downhill to get myself out of here. And so they stopped, and I said, can you call the police, and I was overreacting really, because I really wanted them to know how important it was to, like to get the police officers here at my apartment, because I was going through a spiritual awakening, but I was also at the same time, sorry about that, is I was using my acting skills to go along with it, really, overreacting about the whole thing, but I was still going through some stuff, like trying to figure everything out, being confused about my twin, like what happened there, and, my phone was in my apartment, so this old couple, like, I don't know, I was like seeing if they would call the cops, and they did, they did call the police up, and, then I was upset because of different things going on in the world, and I don't know, I think I picked up some information from the guy that was in the vehicle, because the universe might have been using me that way, where, I did look like a crazy chick running around on the street the way I was dressed. That's the whole funny part about this whole thing, and I knew, I'm like, like I was trying to get over the whole fact that I was half naked on my street because, for the other force out there, not God, but not the universe, but there's another force out there, like a false light energy out there that uses people in the same way that the universe does, but in the opposite effect, So I felt like I was being tapped in by the universe, knowing stuff about this man, and so I did say some funky stuff to him, and I was saying stuff about the Bible and, about heaven and hell and the devil and all this crazy stuff, things that I remembered in the Bible. And, I kind of picked up information possibly that the guy that was in the vehicle might have done stuff with boys, so I did, say something to him, and I can't remember everything, so I'm really doing the best that I can. But they did call the cops, and I didn't know if they called the cops or not, it's just that the lady was on the phone, and, I was really going through a lot in my headspace, and they got scared of Starlight, and they kind of took off on me, and I didn't give up, though. I'm like, I'm going to get another person on the street, and then I did. I found an Asian couple, and I ran out to their car, barefoot and, half naked, and, so I said, the universe would bless you, God would bless you, please, can you call the police department? Can you tell them that there's a pretty girl? And it's so weird at this time. I must have not been eating very well because I was really skinny at this point. And that can happen if you're not really eating a lot of food, that you can go through a spiritual awakening when you already had them before. I do know that. So, I was pretty skinny. I see my, the way I looked after the whole hospital bit after this. It was like, wow, I really wasn't eating that well. And, but anyway, so they see this. I said, tell them that there's a pretty girl in pink out on, I can't tell you my address, and tell them that my landlord has been spying on me in my apartment, and my landlord, I live in my landlord's house, could you please call the cops? And they did. They were really sweet. They were really concerned, and I said the universe will, God will bless you for making this phone call, because I was locked out of my own apartment, and so before I know it, the one police department, the police car came to my address, and before I knew it, I had a lot of police officers, ambulances, all kinds of stuff going on my street, because the two phone calls, really must have really did something at the police department, even though they didn't do really anything right with when they came to my street, so this is really where it gets rough here. So anyway, the police are arriving on my street, and so it really disrupted everything on this whole, it's probably at 2 blocks where I am, or 3, well, no, actually about 4 blocks from the other street where I was actually going to head to, because that's how I get out of here, is to get to the other street. And so here the police officer sees me, on the side of the road, on the sidewalk, and I'm trying to get their attention that I'm the one that wanted them to come to the street. So here, they didn't know what was going on, of course. And so they pulled over, on the side, seeing me half naked, no shoes on, not knowing what happened to Starlight, why, the emergency, you know. So it is kind of weird is because I was going through a spiritual awakening. I have gone through stuff before. I had other spiritual awakenings where I've been abused, like going through like abuse at hospitals, being locked up. So I had a lot going on in my headspace. Here I'm the one calling the cops for help. And so cops are kind of funny. I love police officers and stuff, but are they perfect? Absolutely not. Do they make mistakes? Do they have lessons to learn like we do? Absolutely. And this is one of those cases where, where they didn't do the job right, as far as I am concerned. And I will get to that. I will explain exactly what I mean, how they did not do their job right. And I did make I did word that to the police department after this whole thing happened. So anyway, they like actually keeping themselves safe by keeping you, I was trying to invite the police officers in my apartment, but my apartment was locked up because I might have, definitely shut the door because I thought I was leaving and never returning. But at the time, I had so much going on in my headspace and going through a spiritual awakening. And it's really hard to really understand what's going on as you go through the whole spiritual awakening, because I was so wrapped up in my twin flame that, like missing pieces sometimes happen in a way. You kind of block out, and not that you block out all the time, but you can block out on these things. Is that I didn't know how, I couldn't get back in my apartment. So I thought my landlord found out. So all I wanted to do was to invite the police department up in my apartment. That's really what I wanted, so I can talk to them in private. But instead they wanted me to stay outside the apartment, so like to display me out there to protect themselves from any, anything really. They were protecting themselves. My landlord was right outside the house, not just him, but either his girlfriend or wife. She was there at the same day, that particular day. It might have been, I don't even know what day that would have been last year, a year from now, because normally the lady, throughout the week she goes to work, so if it was a weekend, and it was like about 2 in the afternoon when the call was made, so and I can't say their names. So anyway, they were here at the apartment, and I don't know how the lady got here, but she might have had a call, or maybe she was at a work, or it was a weekend. But anyway, they had me actually sit on my porch right with my landlord right there. I told him, I said, I couldn't prove anything. That was the whole fun part, is I couldn't prove anything that I was saying. I couldn't prove that a van pulled up, in front of my house. And, I could. All they had to do is really, look at my phone and, check that phone number out that I called, because that was my only proof. There was no van sitting out there that said to call this number. I couldn't prove anything that they were watching through my screen, because you couldn't see on the flat screen TV that there was people there. It's just that the universe let me know that they were there, and there was a lot. And not that there was a whole bunch of people. It was probably a whole bunch of people somehow or another connected, that they spy on people in their flat screen TVs. I don't know, maybe they even let each other know. I don't know how this stuff works. I just know it happens, because my daughter went through that before, and not just I witnessed it, she witnessed it. So, and I did make videos about that, are you being spied on? That's in that video there, proof that, you do. You got flat screen TVs, but you don't know who's watching inside your house, and I don't want to get too in track on that. I'm really trying to stay focused on really what I'm talking about here. So really the cops were just making me look like I was a crazy chick outside. And yes, it does sound like I'm crazy by, you listening to what I'm saying. Yeah, I get that. But, the whole thing is that what I was trying to get the officers to do, besides get in the house and my apartment, so they can come in and take a look at my apartment, number one, because my apartment is not a normal looking apartment, and, is to talk in private. I needed to explain to them that, like, can you look in the basement? That's all I was really needing them to do, is to look in the basement. I couldn't prove on my flat screen TV. The TV was off the whole time, and it doesn't matter that your flat screen TV is off, or even if your laptop is off. They could still hack into your laptop, or, you got all these devices, even speakers, to hear everything that you're talking about. So it is, like, that's why I laugh at a Privacy Act. It's like, huh, what Privacy Act? So they would not come in my apartment at the time that I actually wanted. Before I knew it, my street was loaded with ambulances, police, I don't even know if the road might have been blocked. That's how really crazy it was where I live, because they were in the road. And if it was on a weekend, you get more cars parked on the street than you do on a weekday, because on a weekday, most people are out working somewhere, so they would have had more parking area, spots. But, they were all over on my street, the whole, like all over. Starlight really got some attention, especially calling 2 police officers, one right after another, to come to my street. So, they were asking me questions, trying to find out who I am so they can, and, I try to let them know is that you guys know who I am, because I am in the records. I've been through the police department records, like at different areas, never at this place until this time. But, they have me in their records of, other things that has happened to me, unexplained things, and it's spiritual awakenings that, I've been going through. And they don't really understand any of this stuff. They think that you must be tripping on some kind of drug, or, some kind of, illegal drug, and that's why you're acting that way. Or they might think that you got some kind of mental illness, and that was not the case. It's a spiritual awakening. And so that's, even the hospital might not be clear on really what is going on with people that go through a spiritual awakening. And they try to say that you have like either bipolar, schizophrenia, or schizoaffective. I've been labeled all 3 of them, And was that van out there, that was real, Somebody answered the phone. A man did pull up at my house with my daughter's flat screen TV. Yeah, there was actually people like looking, and her, the universe does things like this to reveal things to people that are not aware of it. And this is what the universe was doing with me, is to let me be aware, hey, all this stuff that you've been doing in your living room, I've had sex in this, in my living room throughout the time. Not a lot, but I've had right on my couch, right where my flat screen TV is, so anyway, with that is that, it is really something how the universe will get your attention. And that's why I decided to really make a YouTube channel, because I have something to say and something to share. And I am not crazy, I'm just waking up. And so anyway, when they were getting information from me, Starlight was like 2 people at the same time. I'm Starlight, even on my vehicle, it had, my stickers for Starlight Cleaning when I had my own business, so at that time is, it is kind of weird. I forgot I actually had my newer vehicle, not my older vehicle. So I just recently got this vehicle. And so it had the stickers, new magnets on that vehicle for, or actually my old stickers on that vehicle for my cleaning business. And it's Starlight Cleaning is what the name of it is. And my YouTube channel is Starlight, Kathy with a K. So when the police officers asked me some questions, I really was going through a lot, at the time. So I said my name is Starlight, because I'm a new creation of myself, instead of Kathy Digman, which is Kathy Digman. I love her, is that she's the old version of me. and I recreated, and a new version of myself as an upgrade, as Starlight. So so it is kind of weird. And then they asked me questions, what my name was, and then I didn't really want to at the time because I was going through a lot of um, healing this year. Going through a lot of stuff, and they mentioned about asked me my name, and I said my name, but at that point, at that year, last year, a year from now, is that I didn't love Kathy Dingman. I was upset with her. Kathy Dingman got me in a lot of trouble. She wasn't keeping herself safe. But I have come a long way from that point now. You know, um, After that incident there is I started to learn that I have to love Kathy Dingman, because Kathy Dingman went through a lot and she helped me to become who I am today. So, so I do love Kathy Dingman. And then the police officers asked who my mom was. Wow, that was a trigger I wasn't looking for. And a lot of times when it's certain people, they want to know. They didn't ask me who my dad was. They wanted to know who my mom is. I've seen where a lot of times they always want to ask who the father is, because that's where, the kids, kind of come from, even though the mom delivers them, that way they can kind of figure out, but they wanted to know who my mom was, and I didn't have a really good comeback on that, really. You know, my mom's name, I actually was being rude about my mom at the time on this, my spiritual awakening, because part of her name said it all, and even though the spelling, I can't tell you her name, but even the spelling is different, so I'm not going to say about the police report right now, because that didn't happen at this point. So anyway, they didn't really know anything about my mom, but I didn't really have a lot of positive stuff to say about my mom, and I love my mom, I forgive my mom. It's just that Starlight has gone through hell in her life. But anyway, after they got my name, and this is the time of last year, like a year from now, is at this point at doctors and hospitals, they were still wearing masks. So here, they didn't help Starlight out at all. They didn't check the apartment, the basement at all. They never asked my landlord anything really at all. What they ended up doing is that they had ambulances. I don't even know how many of them were here. I don't even know. There might have been a fire truck out here for all I know. Because all I know is all I seen was officers all over. I was talking to an officer earlier on the street, and I was giving him credit for being a police officer, and I don't know, God was like, the universe was talking through me to talk to this he seemed like a new police officer. So I was just talking to him and saying how, like we need police officers, and I made him really feel good, but I really believe he was really young. And, is that it was kind of weird, the things that I was saying to him, and I don't remember everything. But before I knew it, a couple ambulance, what do they call them, ATMs? No, not ATMs. What do they call them? Ambulance ladies. I'll just say that. I get these names mixed up. So a couple ladies come towards me, and they have the mask on their faces. And I looked around, because I'm going through a spiritual awakening, and it was like a red flag to me. I was like, yeah, you ain't putting me in that ambulance. I've gone through hell in the hospitals. I've seen a lot of abuse going on in the hospitals, a lot of neglect, a lot of like weird stuff, and those are in my other stories on my other spiritual awakenings. It's like the way the universe wanted me to know these things that are going on really in hospitals. And before I forget is that, I don't know, I'm going to wait until later on this story because it's going to be a long story. So anyway, they came to me and they wanted, so they want to bring me to the hospital. It's like I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't hurt anybody. Really, all you got to do is you know, you're not going to check the basement. Let me get back in my apartment. I would have been all right. No, but they weren't going to do that. They were going to send me to the hospital, you know, and of course they didn't find that I was on any drugs or anything like that. You know, I was only on marijuana, and I really wasn't even smoking very much of it on those days. Really, I was dancing so much I didn't even have time. So anyway, I kind of freaked out when they sent these two ladies towards me to bring me to the hospital, because I have, like I said, it was like a trigger, you know, like, why are you taking me to the hospital? And so I didn't want to go with them. And, you know, then they took their mask off, you know, and they sent me to a hospital really close, Samaritan Hospital. Wow. I've never been to that one. So they ended up putting me into the ambulance. An officer, this is so weird, is I asked for them to go in my apartment. Well, the guy that was the head of the police department that was supposed to be in charge, you know, I wanted him to go in the apartment with me. You know, I was trying to get him to go up there, you know, with me so we can talk privately and I can discuss everything without, you know, everybody out on the street, you know, because there's people around wondering what the heck is going on, you know, because where I live, you know, I don't know how long my landlord's lived here, but he's probably pretty well known out here on this street, you know, and but nobody really knows Starlight out here, you know, even the police officers, they probably know my landlord, but nobody really knows Starlight out here. So it kind of aggravated me how they were doing things as far as the police department goes. And after they put me, you know, like my pocketbook was in the, you know, in my apartment, so the police officer does go on, and he did. He looked around, and then he comes downstairs, and then he lets me know that he noticed that, you know, I might even had candles lit, incense lit. That could have been a possibility. You know, I had a tray of marijuana, you know. So he was investigating my apartment. He grabbed my pocketbook, grabbed my keys, you know, and brought that down with him, you know. So somehow or another I thought I lost my keys throughout this whole thing. And so anyway, they bring me inside the ambulance and they ask me all these questions, and I tell them exactly what was going on, why I called the cop, why I got those people to call the cops. So they didn't know what was going on with me, and but they never checked the basement. That was, you know, that was my whole thing. Check the basement. You know, the universe had this all happen for the basement to get checked. You know, I see holes in my walls. You know, these walls, like in my bathroom, there's a little hole in the corner where my tub is. You know, like, how do I know that it's not a little camera inside that little hole? You know, cameras are really small. It wouldn't be much, you know, like to plant cameras inside of an apartment or whatever. You know, and that, you know, I've watched many movies about that kind of stuff in the past, with a motel or hotel that this guy was spying on all the people in this hotel. You know, I can't remember that name of that movie, but wow, that was a wake-up call. So anyway, they're sending me to the hospital. I get to the hospital. They were mind fucking with, I mean, sorry about that. I'm going to have to edit that out. They were playing mind games with me, like it was a different type of people, different kind of energy. They sent me to the Samaria, or what it was, Samaria, I can't remember the name. Samaritan Hospital. I'll have to correct that. Samaritan Hospital. And when they got me there, they brought me into an area where you could sit down, and it looked, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, it wasn't like a hospital like you would go to, like the 911, like, you know, emergency place. It was, you know, like the hospitals that have abused me all over again, like in other people. They were locking me up into a other kind of hospital for people with mental illnesses. And I'm like, oh, great, you know. So here I am inside one of those, and it was really dark, not well lit. And there was some staff that was behind the glass. And we sat there waiting, and, you know, I noticed that there was an elderly lady that was there, you know, really cute lady, elderly lady, and I have a huge heart for elderly people. And so we're in there waiting and waiting, and it just like time just, nobody's coming to us, nobody's checking with us, nobody's coming, like, and I'm sitting there, and I'm heightened right now because I'm going through a spiritual awakening, and I didn't feel safe because I've gone through some horrible stuff in hospitals, what they do behind the scenes, you know, and so I went up to the desk and said, hey, I've been here like waiting. Nobody has come to me, like, and here I am dressed like this in the hospital. And they said, oh, yeah, the doctor, we're waiting for the doctor and he should be, like here on his way. And so I'm like, okay, and I never act like this. I've gone to hospitals many times in my life and never been like this, but I'm going through a spiritual awakening. So I waited a while and waited a while, like, and I'm looking at the time, I'm like, you gotta be, they said in a little bit here, like, I don't even know how long it's, like maybe like an hour has gone by and still nobody has checked to see what they're gonna do with me. And then I started walking around talking to the elderly lady, and she was upset. She's like, yeah, I've been here for a long time and nobody is, she's speaking up. I was like, so I was really concerned about her because she was there before me. It's like they were mind playing with us, and that's what they do at these hospitals. They will mess with your mind. And, so I see the time here. I do have to end this is because I won't be able to really get too far. I want to end this now because the next part, so I don't know how many parts this is going to be, and I'm sorry I have to explain all this stuff because some people might watch these videos but not understand certain things that are going on, and like my past of the other things that's happened, in previous times of being in a hospital and being locked up. So, but I do have to end this. I'm glad that I noticed the time because I don't want them too long. I want to stretch them out. So it will be a while before this gets finished because I just got to the hospital, So there's other things that happen. So I hope, because there's a lot of weird stuff that happened throughout that whole time being there. I was locked up there for a while, maybe a couple weeks in there. No, actually it wasn't. I think it was like 8 days I was locked up in there. So there's things that happened throughout that time. So it's going to take some time to explain all these weird, funky things that I experienced in the hospital. So anyway, I'm sorry I didn't get to the next part, is really very interesting, what did Starlight say to the police officer kind of thing. These videos are definitely not made for kids. Absolutely not. I don't want any parents getting upset with me because I'm going to say some funky stuff in the next video. That will definitely be in the next video. So you'll have to really, Starlight did some funky stuff after this part. And so thank you for, if you are still hanging on watching the second part, congratulations, and I hope the sound is good on this video. I noticed the last one, the sound was not good. I think it's because I was uploading a video at the same time I was recording. I'm guessing that might be the case, but I do that a lot, so I hope this video doesn't sound as bad as the last one, so I do apologize for that. And anyway, I hope you like this video. It's just like a movie. You're just going to have to finish, the next time. And I'm going to continue these. I'm not going to have any other videos. I'm not going to make you suffer, because this is the time of year that this happened a year ago from now. So you could give this video a thumbs up. You could share it with a friend, a family member, a cat, a dog, a hamster, so anyway, is besides sharing with your hamster friend, is no, you said you have a ferret. You got a ferret. I love ferrets. They are beautiful. So you could share it with your ferret friend. And besides sharing it with your ferret, you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel. I can ring the notification bell. You can push the button. You can also leave a message down below. And also you can follow me on Instagram, and that's at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook at Kathy with a K, Digmo Starlight. Anyway, I do love you, and you take good care of yourself. And I will be back, and that will be part 3. So this is part 2 of Starlight, Alice in the Wonderland, Spiritual Awakening. So anyway, this is Starlight. Love and light. Peace.